Professor Archana Tyagi's work experience includes Professor of Organizational Behavior and Human Resource Management at IMT Ghaziabad from 1993 to 2007 and at University of Business and International Studies, Geneva from 2008 to 2013. Currently, ma'am is associated with IIM Kashipur and NFIMS Global Access School for Continuing Education as an adjunct faculty, yourdose.com as an advisor, and a coach with Leaders Today. She also established Memensa Consultancy in July 2013 to help consulting services in areas of process improvement, organizational development, and strategic planning. Dr. Tyagi has worked extensively with public and private sector in coaching, counseling, training, and consulting. She has publications in refereed national and international journals and authored a book on organizational behavior. Accredited trainer of METI, ma'am has received Accessor certification on competency mapping by SHL UK and awarded certification by Grid International Incorporation. She is also an ICF certified coach. She is currently engaged as a facilitator for Dr. Reddy's Foundation for Health Education for conducting workshops for medical fraternity. Let us have a huge round of applause for ma'am.
On this note, I would request our chief guest to address the gathering. Please, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a long day, so not without taking much time. I think we are here with a very interesting topic, transforming HR in the digital era. So when I was reading about this particular topic, the fascinating topic, and the work which we are doing, there are a few things which I would like to share with the August gathering. Human capital is leading digital transformation in three key ways. Innovation. So when we talk about innovation, innovation is not something which we are like thinking of producing something new. It's how do we keep on redefining our processes. Soft skills. Though we have must have discussed a lot about the automation of HR processes, I thought let me take something little different path in this regard. So we talked about innovation. When we talk about innovation, I think disruptive innovation. The name which comes in the mind in the entertainment industry is Netflix. In the service industry, the Airbnb. How they have disrupted the technology. The next point which we talk about, soft skills. Soft skills when we talk about, it's creativity, imagination, emotional intelligence, and the third, the last but not the least is the people. While the people are worried about when the digital transformation in HR will take place, there will be job cuts. It's something when we talk about, there's a very interesting video which I've been watching recently. It's called Future of Work. And a theoretical physicist, a Japanese theoretical physicist, he talks about that how we are coming out from our comfort zone and what will be the future of work. When we talk about two kinds of blue collar workers, white collar workers. The blue collar workers, the kind of work, the repetitive work which they have been doing in the industry, it's going to be slowly wiped down, the manufacturing, the repetitive jobs which we talk about. When we talk about the repetitive and when we talk about the white collar workers, again the kind of work which are going to thrive, they are the workers as simple as gardeners, security personnel, script writer, book writer, music players, lovers. When we talk about the economy in UK, they were able to make more, that their economy was more profit oriented when they were talking about the rock music rather than the coal production. So these are the kind of work which we are talking about. The robots, the one thing with the robots are there which we are going to talk about when we talk about the artificial intelligence and machine learning, which comes with the transforming HR in the digital area. It makes sense when we talk about how they are not able to tap the intellectual capitalism. Now, what is this intellectual capitalism which robots, or when we say artificial intelligence and machine learning, they are not able to tap? They are the one which is talking about the creative things. Creativity, imagination, there is no repetition. And the same way when we talk about, there is one thing which is very important. How we HR people, we are trying to break away from comfort zone to learning zone. To what extent are we aware about ourselves? Are we aware the things which are making us uncomfortable? Are we trying to avoid them? Or we try to go into the depth of those reasons which are making us uncomfortable? And try to make it a point. Recently with the Dr. Reddy's, when I was interacting with the directors, so there was something very small which we came about, going to the same restaurant, having the same food because we are comfortable. So this is what we call about comfort zone. How many times have we tried and tested new restaurant and tried the new recipes or something which we have not tested before? As simple as example as this. So these are one or two things when we talk about the change management which makes our life little difficult, a little unpleasant, little uncomfortable, but ultimately it helps us in giving us the pleasure. So how can we embrace technology and take advantage of its areas? A new future of work, a new organizational structure. Josh Bersin, I don't know how many of you heard his name, he's done a lot of work in this particular era in digital transformation in HR. So he was discussing that we need to redesign our organizational structures. What kind of organizational structures are we talking about? Mechanistic, having the boxes from the top to the bottom, centralized work. So do we need to change because the time has come when we have to work in team in a collaborative manner. We just cannot work in silos. We have to reach out to the people, we have to work in a team. Just like I think you have seen that your conference or any conference in IMS is a team work. The same way we need to keep on changing our organizational structure. We start working on teams and collaborative manner. Reinventing management, sorry. We have to be a coach and not a manager. That means, what is the difference between a coach and a boss? Anybody in the group? What is the difference between a coach and a boss? So boss generally tends to give the suggestions or give the delegate work. But what happens with the coach? He says to empower you. Empower you, have faith in your capabilities. There is a very beautiful HBR article by Chris Argyris. Employers' new clothes. This we teach in designing of work organizations. How much, I think you people have heard this story. I'll just briefly share the story with you. Story writing is also a part of intellectual capitalism. So here when we talk about this story, there was a king was there who was very fond of wearing very fine clothes. I'm sure all of you must have heard this story as a child or when you were growing up. And he was very fond, and this news reached the con men. There were two con men who reached king, and they said to him that we are going to make a very fine clothes for you, but there are two conditions for that. Number one, the people who are not honest, they will not be able to see the clothes. And number two, maybe after 3-4 months, you can send somebody and he will continue to share with you the progress. Ultimately, what happened, when this news spread in the kingdom, so people are worried that if I am going to, first he has sent his prime minister, and he was not able to see anything in the clothes because there was no clothes. They were swindlers, they were con men. They were just fooling the king, but nobody wanted to sound as a fool by saying that we are not able to see anything. Because if they are going to admit that, they are not going to be the wise man as it was predicted to be. So ultimately, it was working. He has sent many people. Everybody came and gave very good reviews to the king, that it's been going on a very smooth space and everything has been working very nicely. But ultimately, in the end, when the time has come for king to take a round of the town, and he has to share these particular fine clothes with the population, with his praja, जिसे हम बोलते हैं, then everybody was aghast, but nobody would dare to open his mouth until a small child, he shouted, "The king is nude." So I'm sure this is a story, but how can we relate it with the boss and the one boss who is empowered? When you are not able to empower your people underneath you, they don't have the faith in your wisdom, they are afraid to speak out their mouth. So we are saying that this kind of boss and the leader relationship will not work. You have to be a coach where you are mentoring people, where you are coaching people in the right direction. So we employ new clothes. It sends a strong message in empowerment. The next is employee experience. Issues that affect people at work, culture. I am sure most of you, or if not all of you, must have heard about a great place to work company. Why people they suggest such kind of company? Why there are lots of dimensions where these companies they rank themselves and number 1, 2, and 3 on the various basic parameters. That those companies who come in the top rankings, it speaks a volume about the culture of the company. So without taking much of your time, let me just try to wind it up. Get ready for the HR digital transformation and future of HR. Establish a clear goal. You need to have a clear goal. What are the social media tools? What are the ERP tools? What are the SAP tools which you are going to put in your organizations for a better work? Get everyone on the board, all stakeholders, from a management executives to the senior most people in the organization. Get everyone on the board. Don't overcomplicate things. Keep it as simple as possible. Try to reach out to people who are able to make it mandatory to understand those goals and they are able to implement it. Prioritize ideas, understand knowledge management. Now this is something which is very, very important and which I laid a lot of emphasis on. There are two kinds of knowledge management we talk about. One is codified knowledge, other is tacit knowledge. Codified knowledge is knowledge which is documented. Tacit knowledge is the one knowledge which makes each and every one of us unique. So try to be a part of both codified and tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is that knowledge which makes you unique, gives you lots of your identity, which is unparalleled. So make yourself unique as far as tacit knowledge goes. Across performance results. In today's young millennials, they don't wait for a year or 6 months to receive the performance appraisals. They want monthly appraisal to try to have that kind of performance-driven management, and culture is extremely important. So with these words, I'd like to conclude the valedictory session. Thank you so much.